in the quiet before dawn, we open our hearts to the light that gives life to every breath. You are about to see the full change of cosmic justice in real time. Chosen one, the universe does not just react when regular humans attempt to interfere with holy angels assuming human form. It illustrates precisely why the protection of heaven is ingrained in the spiritual DNA of certain beings. They are mistaken about who you are. You weren't. When most people see you, they see a normal individual with a few gifts. They see someone with whom they may exert control, influence, or rivalry. They assume they comprehend your limitations and measure you by human standards, but they don't know what they're dealing with. Your energy field contains codes that are thousands of years older than their comprehension. They see a divine entity working in human form, supported by energies that alter reality itself when they gaze upon you. They are witnessing an angel who decided to take on human form in order to fulfill a certain purpose. Here's what occurs, though, when jealousy prevents them from seeing your actual character. They begin plotting. They begin to strategize. In private meetings, they congregate and discuss ways to undermine you. They gather resources and devise what they believe to be ingenious ideas. Every word they say against you is stored in cosmic databases, but they are unaware of this. Every plan they devise to harm you triggers defense mechanisms they can't even fathom. Spiritual powers created to preserve universal balance react automatically to any plan they devise. Knowing that you were destined for something more, you have been living your life feeling different. It wasn't just your imagination. It was not an illusion to know. Angelic consciousness in human form has been carried by you. It's time for the complete activation now. The world itself turns against anyone who attempts to harm a celestial angel. Cosmic law protects those who serve the light, not because you begged for retribution. You are no longer required to fight your own fights. The universe defends you against them. Furthermore, the world doesn't simply prevail when it fights your conflicts. It produces educational moments that transcend all dimensions. Jealousy eats at their hearts like spiritual poison at the beginning of the onslaught. They observe your life and how opportunities present themselves to you with ease. They observe how chances come to you organically. While they strive for each breakthrough, they observe how your intuition leads you flawlessly. For souls functioning from a state of scarcity consciousness, the contrast becomes intolerable. Why them and not me becomes into their catchphrase every day. The question of what makes them so special turns into an obsession. Their goal becomes, how can we level the playing field? However, they fail to realize that there is no level playing field. They're playing a different game than you are. While they are trapped in the limited thinking of humans, you are functioning from divine consciousness. While they are swimming against the universal tide, you are moving with the cosmic currents. The family gatherings begin modestly. Hushed discussions about your unfair privileges. Theories that claim their chances are somehow diminished by your achievement. Did this teaching strengthen your faith? Join hands with us by tapping Super Thanks and sowing $20, $50, or whatever God places on your heart. Your seed helps us carry good news farther, and we're believing with you for abundant harvests in due time. He which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully, for God loveth a cheerful giver. 2 Corinthians 9 verses 6-7 KJV. Resentful grievances cloaked in concerns about justice. Jealousy, however, is spiritual cancer. It infects entire family systems and spreads through bloodlines. Those idle grumbles quickly turn into proactive planning. They begin looking for methods to undermine you. They pool their resources. They concoct schemes that will cost them everything they have accumulated. They fail to see that every dollar they spend attempting to hurt you is an investment in their own demise. Karmic debt is created with each favor requested from dark practitioners, and it grows every day. They are getting closer to spiritual bankruptcy. With each covert meeting, they have to plan attacks on you. They believe that they are acting strategically. They believe they are creating an equal playing field. They believe they can confine divine beings using human techniques, But you can't use human hands to confine starlight. Chosen one. A single drop of venom cannot contaminate the ocean. You cannot use a piece of paper to block out the sun. They are not targeting another person with presence when they target you. They are waging war on a creature whose very existence is safeguarded by forces that, before you even realize it, set up synchronicity and remove barriers. Your greatest ascent is financed by the investment people make in your downfall. They use every strike you launch as fuel for skills they were unaware you had. In realms they cannot see, something astonishing occurs the instant their first attack is launched against you. The force of cosmic alarm bells activates your divine protection mechanisms. Your spiritual shields are more than just barriers for protection. Every transgression of cosmic law is recorded by their recording equipment. They have transmission stations that provide spiritual authority, working outside of human jurisdiction with real-time updates. Negative energy is transformed into evolutionary fuel in their transformation chambers. They don't encounter opposition to their assaults. What they've fallen into is a revelation. The practitioner they employed to fight against you is suddenly overcome with insight into your actual character, your divine heritage, and the utterly disastrous outcomes of continuing to work against you. You see, Earth angels embody protection, not merely carry it. It's like trying to keep a hurricane inside a jewelry box when someone tries to hurt you. Your spiritual signature isn't a human being with superhuman powers. It's angelic consciousness at work in the material world, supported by power structures that are beyond the comprehension of human magical traditions. The image that pierces their practitioners' self-assurance demonstrates just what they have entered. You're not just another intuitive or psychic. You are a being whose purpose in this world is safeguarded by forces that have been paving your way since before you were even born. Spiritual systems built to preserve cosmic balance automatically react whenever someone tries to get in the way of your objective. Every curse they transmit awakens dormant codes in your DNA that, in a normal situation, may have lain dormant for years. Your full divine activation is triggered by their attack. You're getting improvements that allow you to reach your full angelic potential while they're celebrating what they believe to be strategic planning. Your intuitive skills develop into cosmic awareness, surpassing personal guidance. Anyone with spiritual sight can see your protective field as layers of intelligently pulsing golden light. It becomes mathematically difficult to attribute the synchronicity that is growing all around you to coincidence. Resources show up just when they're needed. Appropriately timed contacts provide guidance. As you get closer, doors open. The biggest shift, though, is in how you perceive yourself. Any remaining skepticism regarding your divine identity is eliminated by the fire trial they put you through. With complete clarity about your cosmic role and unwavering faith in your protection, you emerge not simply surviving but thriving. They engaged a spiritual worker to bring you down, and let me tell you what happens to him. The plot really picks up steam at this point. At first, the practitioner considers this practice to be routine. Another customer with family issues. Another agreement to restrict someone's prospects or bound their gifts. Simple money, routine practice. Yellow heart if you're moved by divine love. Now is the moment to share it. Click the Super Thanks button on YouTube and contribute $50 or more to help us broadcast God's blessings far and wide. Every act of generosity you make is being watched in heaven and will return to you 100-fold. But after trying to build a spiritual relationship with you for negative reasons, everything changes in a matter of days. The seasoned expert who believed they understood the paranormal is suddenly thrust into an area that is outside the scope of their education. They can't ignore the warnings in their dreams. Visions of your actual self interrupt meditation sessions and shake people to their very core. In unexpected ways, they begin to feel that accepting this deal was a violation of cosmic law. However, the money is nice. Family pressure is really strong. Despite growing signs that something is seriously amiss, professional pride requires completion. Then comes the turning point in time. Your divine defense systems come into full force, when they should be at their strongest, working against you. The realization of what the practitioner is truly dealing with floods their consciousness. They learn that you possess spiritual abilities in addition to being a human. Your spiritual signature, as an earth angel, brings approval from cosmic authority they were unaware of. Personal power does not provide your protection. It stems from your heavenly mission in this field. The scene that breaks their calm demonstrates exactly what they have fallen into. The laws that govern spiritual warfare at the highest levels are broken when someone tries to harm you. Their choices will have repercussions beyond this life, including soul contracts and karmic commitments they are unable to fully understand. When they make the final phone call, their hands are trembling. It can't be done, they acknowledge to your family members. This is the point at which it becomes extremely damaging for all parties concerned. We're dealing with something that operates under different laws entirely. Through underground networks, word gets out about the unsuccessful attempt to attack you. A case that has already designated its parties for cosmic vengeance will not be touched by any respectable practitioner. The story of the practitioner who worked against you becomes a warning. They serve as a warning about the repercussions of entering contracts that break cosmic law because of their quick transition from esteemed professional to broken outcast. The family's response demonstrates the extent of their spiritual ignorance when they learn that the practitioner they hired is unable to finish the work. They see the professional disengagement as betrayal rather than as a sign of prudence. They intensify their harmful course instead of recognizing the warning indications. They start looking for someone more powerful to finish their task, rather than admitting they've made a grave error. At this point, their desperation pushes them into spiritual area that even seasoned practitioners should avoid. The organizations they begin working with in their desperate quest for alternatives are governed by laws that make negotiating a human contract seem like a game. These malevolent entities are content to take money for services they don't intend to render. When the cosmic debt is due, they are even more delighted to return the bad energy to its original senders. Together, the family makes more money. They visit practitioners who live far away. For more aggressive methods, they give larger payouts. Their spiritual debt is exacerbated by new karmic commitments that arise with each step they take further into this darkness. In the meantime, they are struck with rapid and brutal accuracy by the karmic acceleration. The family member who started the plot begins to have health problems that medical professionals are unable to diagnose or treat. Primary business endeavors start to collapse in ways that are inexplicable. They found that the relationships they relied on for emotional support were based more on reciprocal gain than on true concern. Through unforeseen costs and lost investments, the money they used to finance attacks against you begins to run out. The actual destruction, however, has not yet occurred. In a desperate attempt to collect money, the entities they contracted with start using methods considerably more complex than money. Their activities have undermined the spiritual protection that often protects people from some forms of supernatural attention. They have opened doors they don't know how to close. Things start to show interest in their lives that ought to have stayed safely isolated in other dimensions. Sleep turns into a battlefield where nightmares infiltrate the conscious mind. Waking hours are accompanied by a persistent feeling of being observed by entities that are just beyond of our senses. Their house turns into a hub of mysterious occurrences that repel guests and make them feel imprisoned in their own world. Even those who recognized your divine nature from the start are amazed by the heights of your ascension while their world falls apart around them. This is something they didn't expect. Other earth angels around the world who had been leading latent lives awaken as a result of your metamorphosis. When a heavenly being like you is fully activated, it sends forth energy signals that cause other angels all throughout the planet to activate dormant codes. A cosmic alarm clock for sleeping angels everywhere is created by your display of heavenly power at full capacity. Selected individuals who had been repressing their talents to prevent family strife suddenly find themselves unable to control their powers as they grow out of control. after suppressing their light to maintain peace. Earth angels begin to shine so brightly that they are unable to dim themselves. The repercussions of the initial strike against you are multiplied enormously by the cascade effect of these subsequent awakenings. The resonance of your victory is carried within the field of each newly awakened Earth angel, and this energy starts to show up in their family systems as opportunity, protection, and karmic correction. A worldwide activation of divine beings who had been waiting for the proper frequency to start their own ascensions was unintentionally set off by the conspiracy against you. Your family never could have predicted the spiritual revolution that was sparked by their jealousy. The shields that surround you, however, are more than just defensive. Every attack, every intent, every cosmic law violation aimed at you is being recorded by their recording devices. Authorities functioning outside of human jurisdiction are receiving this information. Your attackers are being prosecuted by spiritual tribunals that follow laws that predate human civilization. Dove brothers and sisters, everything done in faith multiplies in God's abundance. Use the Super Thanks feature to donate $100 today and join this sacred mission. When your roots are grounded in Him, your fruit will flourish, and your offering becomes a seed that bears blessed harvests. Human notions of justice do not govern how these celestial tribunals operate. They function according to energy balancing principles that guarantee harmony for all. The evidence your defense systems collected during their attack is so thorough that the events turn into case studies for how divine justice is applied when Earth angels are in danger. The punishments being imposed are beyond the scope of human legal systems. Cosmic courts use corrective measures intended to bring violators into compliance with universal law rather than punishing them. They will now be taught every lesson they refuse to learn through gentle counsel by directly experiencing repercussions that exactly reflect their infractions. Experiences that compel people to face spiritual hierarchies they disregarded help them to overcome their incapacity to acknowledge your divine essence. Their jealousy of your gifts is addressed by temporarily suspending their own skills until they show that they genuinely value the talents of others. When circumstances force people to serve reasons larger than their own ambitions, their attempts to tie your aim are reversed. Their conspiracy creates karma that extends beyond its direct members. It corrects habits that have been skewing their bloodline's relationship with heavenly power for generations. It runs both forward and backward via family lineages. Spiritual debts are being called in for ancestors who made comparable decisions. The heightened awareness of the offspring keeps them from making the same mistakes. Respect and service to divine will are gradually replacing the spiritual rivalry and jealousy that characterize family dynamics. Their family's children start to exhibit psychic powers that, in contrast, make their parents' spiritual difficulties seem archaic. These children have an innate knowledge of cosmic law, which makes them natural guardians of those who are selected rather than enemies. Your triumph is being recorded in the Akashic records as a model for how Earth angels need to react in spiritual combat. You will have created strategies, activated protection protocols, and earned insight from turning attacks into evolutionary fuel that will be available to future generations of divine creatures. Earth angel spiritual DNA has inherited wisdom that includes your experience. Any divine being incarnating into a family with a history of jealousy toward chosen ones must study your case, which is being added to the cosmic database. Here's the lovely irony, though. Once a threat to your spiritual growth, your family is now unknowingly protecting your legend. Instead of trying to damage your reputation, they constructed a mythology that draws in other chosen people who are looking for guidance from someone who has successfully fought the most intense spiritual battles. Their failure has turned into your best marketing tool for the existence of divine protection. Everyone who learns about their failed plot against you realizes right away that you are protected from sources that are incomprehensible to humans. Spiritual groups hear about the Earth Angel who turned jealousy within the family into cosmic activity. Other angels come to you for advice on how to respond to such assaults. Your narrative proves that angels in human form have built-in defenses that kick in when they feel threatened. A living example of the basic distinction between divine beings and regular people who act out of jealousy and restriction is created by the contrast between your ascended status and their diminished state. When you fully integrate your divine nature, the dimensional limitations surrounding your physical place start to change. In your presence, the basic laws of nature function under altered conditions. People that are sensitive say they feel different when they are with you. Around you, plants bloom more vibrantly. In your company, animals exhibit unusually intelligent behavior. Technology works more efficiently, as though your energy field improves everything it comes into contact with. The spiritual geography of your surroundings is actually altered by your presence, producing areas where positive energies are amplified and destructive intentions are unable to remain coherent. Even ordinary visitors to your neighborhood describe feeling a sense of inexplicable creativity and optimism because of the stark difference. When those who are harboring malevolent thoughts approach your zone of influence, they are forced to either change their intents or leave. Your energy field functions as a truth detector, making sincerity unavoidable and deceit uneasy. The family members who plan the plot can no longer control their emotions when they are in close proximity to your enhanced presence. They suffer from irreversible psychological damage as a result of the cognitive dissonance between their jealousy-based worldview and the indisputable proof of your divine nature. Some people start having involuntary spiritual episodes, which are times when they become so aware of the vastness of the cosmos that their trivial worries appear ridiculous. They become confused and start to doubt the basic beliefs about reality that underpin their whole identity as a result of these encounters. The once justifiable jealousy starts to feel like an unfamiliar emotion that belongs to someone else. They are forced to face the spiritual immaturity that fueled their plot against you while they are in your presence. Your talents have progressed from psychic aptitude to something that verges on miraculous manifestation. With the enthusiasm of a cosmos waiting for someone with your authority to guide its creative energies, reality reacts to your goals. When you get close, obstacles that others would take months to overcome vanish. With just your concentrated attention, opportunities that were just in the realm of possibility become a reality. The timing of the resource's appearance is so flawless that it appears as though invisible directors choreographed everything. You open up new possibilities for what incarnated spiritual beings can achieve in human form with your shift from targeted earth angel to fully realized celestial being. The final witness to their foolishness and your victory has been the universe itself. Throughout time and throughout dimensions, spiritual beings can find direction in the records of this cosmic case. Your narrative demonstrates that human ambition cannot override divine will. When threatened, the protection that earth angels carry will immediately activate. Any attempt to confine beings composed of cosmic fire and starlight would always end with the cage being destroyed rather than the divine being captured. But allow me to share with you the most impactful aspect of your tale. Your triumph was more than just a personal one. In the face of similar attacks from individuals who were threatened by divine awakening, it turned into a beacon for chosen ones worldwide. By turning spiritual battle into the very force that propels evolution into cosmic consciousness, you demonstrate that earth angels are capable of more than just surviving it. All of the curses turned into blessings. Each bond turned into an innovation. Every effort to dampen your light only worked to increase its brilliance. Your ascent to previously unheard-of levels of spiritual dominance was financed by the money they spent on your spiritual annihilation. Their jealousy awoke powers they never would have thought you had. Their assaults triggered defense mechanisms that transformed you into a living example of how divine entities transform negative energy into energy for evolution. The quivering hands of the practitioner who started this story now belong to someone who rejects any contracts involving divine entities after finally realizing that there are forces at work in the universe that are beyond human understanding or control. The family's plot, which was fueled by ignorance and jealousy, achieved the exact opposite of all of their goals. They offered a spark for total divine activation and attempted to lessen your abilities. Rather, they cleared every hurdle from your way to cosmic consciousness and tried to prevent your destiny. Rather, they documented your transformation into something that went beyond their entire conception of what was possible in an attempt to demonstrate that you were only human. Rather, their defeat serves as a testament to the everlasting truth that the only thing that can happen when common people battle earth angels is the total alteration of reality to allow for the triumph of heavenly light over human darkness. What started out as a family plot against a single earth angel has evolved into a frequency revolution that is impacting this planet's whole spiritual landscape. Sleeping angels were woken by cosmic signals sent out by your full activation. Glowing star yearning to witness God's miracles firsthand. Plant your spiritual seed now by contributing $100 or more through the YouTube Super Thanks button. Your offering lights the path for others and echoes through His divine plan, bringing His light into every step you take. Over continents. Suddenly, divine creatures who had been concealing their light in families that were unable to comprehend their mission were unable to control their talents, which were growing beyond all prior bounds. Other chosen ones who need to remember their own power can use the frequency you're now emitting as a homing beacon. In order to prepare divine creatures for their own ascensions, your energy signature has evolved into a teaching frequency that transmits activation codes straight into their consciousness. People who had no prior interest in metaphysical issues are now experiencing an unprecedented number of awakening experiences, according to spiritual communities around the world. The resonance of your total divine integration is the distinctive frequency carried by all of these spontaneous activations. Now, your family's desperate beings are acting as unintentional messengers, bringing your triumphant frequency into the most sinister nooks and crannies of the spiritual underworld. Even the forces of evil are being forced to accept the truth of your almighty power. There are cautions from underground networks involved in spiritual manipulation about trying to attack earth angels. Every time practitioners think about taking contracts against supernatural creatures, they bring up your instance as the quintessential cautionary tale. Globally, however, family systems are undergoing the most significant transformation. Your triumph frequency is causing spontaneous repairs in bloodlines that have carried envy behaviors toward selected ones for generations. Instead of stifling their children's spiritual capabilities, parents now feel obligated to foster and safeguard these skills. After competing with reawakened family members, siblings are now recognizing their own latent divine nature and preferring cooperation to rivalry. The relationship between divine beings and the families they incarnate into is being rewritten as a result of the frequency revolution you initiated. As family members acknowledge the honor of having an earth angel in their lineage, jealousy and rivalry are giving way to respect and encouragement. Spiritual circles are using your experience as evidence that the universe constantly defends its divine agents and that attempts to obstruct cosmic missions are met with systematic corrections for the interference sources and automatic enhancements for the targeted angels. The cosmic corrective that their actions sparked is now complete, and the clock that signaled the start of their conspiracy is still ticking. However, this is not the end. It's a stepping stone to a degree of spiritual power that will shape reality for eternity. Earth angels have been protected for eons by precedents set by the cosmic courts that consider the evidence against your enemies. Automatic protection procedures for divine entities in human form have been added to the legal framework controlling spiritual warfare. Cosmic authorities will respond to future attempts to attack Earth angels much more quickly and thoroughly. The minimal requirements for heavenly protection were set by your case, and all incarnated angels engaged in planetary ascension missions are now subject to these requirements. Using their experience to teach others how to recognize divine indications that indicate when potential targets are shielded by cosmic law itself, the practitioner who first volunteered to work against you has evolved into a master teacher of spiritual ethics. Their statements regarding what occurs when people try to control earth angels, and it is now a mandatory subject in accredited spiritual training programs. Without first examining your situation as an illustration of the repercussions of breaking cosmic law, no ethical professional will agree to a deal with divine entities. The conspiracy planning family members have been placed in what can only be called remedial cosmic citizenship classes. In-depth instruction in identifying divine entities, comprehending spiritual hierarchies, and cultivating a sincere respect for the gifts of others are all part of the curriculum. Through this process of rectification, some of them are uncovering their own latent spiritual gifts. The cosmic courts offer chances for growth and atonement in addition to punishing transgressions. There are opportunities for spiritual growth for those who are prepared to completely change their connection with heavenly authority. The way that cosmic justice transformed their weapon against you into a tool for their own awakening, however, is its most exquisite feature. They were compelled to face their own spiritual deprivation and start the real development of their own divine nature as a result of their jealousy of your gifts. You have definitively demonstrated that the only thing that can happen when regular people who are motivated by jealousy and limitations try to oppose earth angels is the total alteration of reality to allow for the triumph of divine light over human darkness. However, your triumph extends beyond individual success. You are now a living example of how effective heavenly protection can be. Your account demonstrates that earth angels are equipped with automatic defenses that kick in when they feel threatened, turning every assault into a source of evolutionary energy. The universe itself upgraded the defenses accessible to all divine creatures operating on Earth in celebration of your ascension. Because of your ability to successfully navigate spiritual battle, future Earth angels will find it easier to realize their full potential without having to go through the same difficulties. As a bridge between heaven and earth, you now show what is possible when divine consciousness functions unrestrictedly in human form. Before you go, if this message encouraged you, step out in faith by sowing a seed via Super Thanks, $20, $50, or any amount God leads. Your support keeps these teachings accessible and free, and we're asking God to supply needs, cancel lack, and open strategic doors. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. Philippians 4 verse 19 KJV. Angels walk among us with missions that support the expansion of all consciousness, as your existence in this world serves as a continual reminder. Your success tale is now stored in the biological memory of the family that previously threatened you. They will pass on awareness of the consequences of human interference with heavenly missions to all their descendants. Their spiritual DNA now includes your victory, guaranteeing that future generations would naturally defend selected ones rather than persecute them. Your metamorphosis throughout this ordeal was so profound that you now represent a natural force that both non-human and human intelligences appreciate. The authority of someone who has been put to the test by cosmic fire and come out not only unscathed, but changed into pure light is evident in your presence. From your permanent enhanced consciousness, their issues appear far away and almost quaint. You approach their difficulties with the empathy of someone who is aware of the learning process they are going through, seeing them from a viewpoint that goes beyond their whole spectrum of worries. Your abilities have progressed from being miraculous to resembling the manifestation of God. Skills. Your life doesn't merely change because of you. With the authority of someone who is formally acknowledged as a divine representative by the cosmic government, you reshape reality around your goal. Because the synchronicities that permeate your life are now so mathematically improbable, scientists examine them as illustrations of how consciousness may affect probability at the quantum level. Your life is now a live laboratory for learning about the manifestation of divine will in the material world. Your total comprehension of your own character and purpose, however, may be the greatest triumph. You are an immortal being temporarily assuming human form to fulfill a cosmic duty, and you know this without a doubt. You are aware that the highest authorities are protecting you, and that universal law itself supports your authority. Now, every action you take paves the way for other divine entities to follow. Every restriction you overcome serves as a model for earth angels in the future. Every triumph you attain is recorded in cosmic databases as evidence of what is made possible when divine entities completely accept who they really are. Now, the clock that saw their plot ushers in a new era in which earth angels function freely and with great might, shielded by precedents set by your bravery and cosmic authority. You are more than an earth angel now. Instead of fitting within the constraints that people attempt to place on you, you are a magnificent force of nature that shapes reality around your existence. You are completely victorious, untouchable, and invincible. The universe maintains exacting records, and this portion of your journey serves as timeless evidence that human ambition cannot override divine intent. Those who believed they could change your tale found they had only created the tension that allowed you to become the most complete manifestation of your celestial essence. Not only was their defeat total, but it was also cosmically instructional, proving their folly to anybody who may think of it in the future. They misjudged the Earth Angel, who now serves as a living example of how some forces in this world are supported by power that, when properly awakened, can change reality itself. Now proceed, lovely magnificent creature. Be so brilliant that the darkness is forced to flee. Wherever you go, you've won. Your purpose is safeguarded by forces beyond human comprehension, and your authority is established. You can succeed, Earth Angel. This has always been you. The entire cosmos is now aware of it,